In the intense world of law enforcement, power often clashes with justice, but rarely does it come to a head in such an explosive fashion. Police Chief Benjamin Brennan, a towering figure in the Oakwood Police Department, walked into Judge Judy Schindlin's courtroom with all the arrogance of a man who had never faced consequences. At 52 years old, with 25 years of service, Brennan was accustomed to control. With his parade uniform perfectly pressed and a chest adorned with commendations, he had built his career on authority, fear, and manipulation. But today he was facing something he had never encountered: the unflinching force of Judge Judy's justice. Chief Brennan's reputation in Oakwood was legendary, not for bravery or heroism, but for ruthlessness. As the head of the department, he demanded unwavering loyalty, and he crushed anyone who dared to challenge him. For 5 years, he had run the department like a private army, his word law, his power unchecked. The mayor, city council, and his fellow officers feared him. His name was synonymous with the department's success. At least that's what he believed. However, across from him, sitting quietly, was Detective Sarah Singania, a woman who had earned everything she had through sheer merit. At just 34 years old, Sarah had already shattered records in the Oakwood Police Department, with the highest case closure rate in the state. She had solved 47 major investigations, earned commendations for bravery, and was widely respected by her peers. Yet to Chief Brennan, she was simply a woman who didn't belong in the boys' club he had created. And for that, he had made her life a living nightmare. The harassment had started the moment Sarah earned her detective shield 3 years ago. Brennan had called her into his office, telling her that women couldn't be effective detectives and suggesting she transfer back to patrol. When she proved him wrong by solving 3 cold cases in 6 months, his attitude shifted from dismissive to vindictive. He began calling her sweetheart and honey during official meetings, making her the butt of jokes in front of other officers, and even went as far as blocking her cases, giving them to less qualified male detectives. As Sarah's career flourished, Brennan's treatment became increasingly hostile. He scheduled her for dangerous solo assignments, left her unsupported, and even sent her to work with the worst teams. When Sarah filed a formal sexual harassment complaint, Brennan retaliated in the cruelest way possible. He placed her on administrative leave, slashing her pay by 40%. Despite her providing witness statements and evidence, Internal Affairs, completely loyal to Brennan, cleared him in a matter of weeks. Now, Sarah was suing for $87,000, the money she desperately needed to keep her home and feed her 2 young daughters. Brennan, with his expensive attorney by his side, sat across from her in the courtroom, sure that his power would shield him yet again. But he had underestimated Judge Judy. Judge Judy had spent the night before the trial carefully reviewing all the documents, complaints, and sealed records. What Brennan didn't know was that she had uncovered a history of corruption, abuse, and criminal behavior that would destroy him. As the trial began, Judge Judy's legendary instincts immediately kicked in. She recognized Brennan's body language, the casual posture, the arrogance that he was above the law. When he addressed her with a dismissive "Good morning, ma'am," Judge Judy didn't flinch. Her sharp gaze met his with a quiet intensity. The disrespect was clear, and she was already prepared to deal with it. Chief Brennan smirked as he began his defense, painting Sarah's complaints as nothing more than a woman playing the victim. "Your Honor," he began, "I run a department that deals with real criminals. Detective Singania simply isn't cut out for the job." But Judge Judy wasn't swayed. She turned to Sarah, who nervously clutched a folder of evidence. As Sarah explained her case, detailing how Brennan had demeaned her, blocked her from progressing, and called her names in official communications, the courtroom became charged with the weight of her words. She revealed emails where Brennan had referred to her as honey, sweetheart, and little girl. She showed performance reviews where Brennan had mocked her ability to handle real detective work because of her gender. As Sarah continued, the room grew tense. Judge Judy listened intently, her expression hardening as she absorbed the gravity of the situation. "Chief Brennan," she said, "how do you explain these emails?" Brennan's defense was weak, filled with excuses that did little to change the court's perception of him. His smug confidence began to crack as more evidence came forward. Witness testimonies from other officers, all of whom described similar treatment by Brennan. As Sarah's emotional distress was laid bare, Brennan's arrogance began to crumble. But it wasn't just the current case that was under scrutiny. Judge Judy pulled out sealed records from Brennan's past. "Before we continue," she began, "I think the court needs to hear about your history." The shock in Brennan's face was unmistakable as Judge Judy revealed the sealed sexual harassment settlement from his previous department, Riverside Police Department. It turned out that Brennan had been forced to resign from Riverside after a female officer accused him of sexual harassment. The settlement had been sealed to protect his career, but it was now exposed to the public. The revelation was devastating. But Judge Judy wasn't done. She pulled out more documents, revealing another instance of domestic assault charges from 15 years ago. The case had been dismissed when the victim refused to testify, but the pattern was undeniable. Brennan had a history of abusing women, silencing them, and using his position to cover up his crimes. With each document, Judge Judy's voice grew colder. "You're not just a misogynist, Chief Brennan," she said. "You're a thief." She revealed how Brennan had used department funds for personal expenses, extravagant dinners, hotel stays, and trips that had nothing to do with police work. The evidence was overwhelming, and the courtroom was in chaos as Brennan's life unraveled before him. Finally, Judge Judy delivered her verdict. "I find in favor of Detective Singania," she said, firmly. "Chief Brennan, you will pay Detective Singania thus $87,000 in lost wages and an additional $150,000 in punitive damages for emotional distress. That's $200,000 that you will pay personally. Your badge doesn't protect you here." The courtroom fell silent as Brennan, completely defeated, slumped into his seat. His career, reputation, and freedom were gone. As the court session ended, Brennan's attempt to control the narrative had failed. The viral video of his outburst, "I own you," spread across the internet, watched by millions. His empire, built on intimidation and corruption, crumbled in a matter of hours. Within days, Brennan faced criminal charges, his name forever linked to a scandal that no amount of power could fix. Detective Sarah Singania, once trembling in the courtroom, walked out victorious. Her daughter's future was secured, and her faith in justice was finally restored. This case wasn't just a win for Sarah. It was a victory for all those who had been silenced, abused, and discarded by those in power. If you believe corrupt police officers should be held accountable, hit that subscribe button and share this story. Justice always wins.